What's going on, guys? Today's my last day here in Singapore over a 2 week trip. 1 week here in Singapore, 1 week in Malaysia. And honestly, this trip has really got me rethinking my stance on the Chase Sapphire Reserve versus the American Express Platinum card. Now, in my previous video, I talked about the Amex Platinum strictly being a better card. I still stand by that statement in terms of benefits, perks, credits that the card gives you. It's strictly better. Again, you're paying a higher annual fee, but what you're getting for that fee is far more valuable than the Chase Sapphire Reserve. However, I would say if you are traveling internationally, the Chase Sapphire Reserve might be the better card. And that's strictly due to the fact that Visa is far more widely accepted than American Express. So Amex is notorious for high merchant fees. A merchant fee is just any fee that the merchant or the person selling you a good or service has to pay anytime you're going to swipe that card, purely for the convenience of allowing you to use that card. So Amex is one of the higher end credit card companies out there, and they are known to charge merchants anywhere from 3 to 4% on those transactions. Granted, they do give a lot of support for businesses, and their business products are quite robust, but the trade-off is that they're going to be charging merchants a little bit higher fee, which translates to higher costs for those products and services for you, the end consumer, or just flat out not using Amex to pay lower merchant fees. And that's where Visa comes in. I've traveled to 6 countries outside the US now, and I've had absolutely no issues ever using my Visa card, and that's where the Chase Sapphire Reserve had come in. Now, when you're traveling overseas, you are going to be subject to conversion rates, but you're also going to be subject to transaction fees. Now, this is different from merchant fees. A foreign transaction fee is a fee that you get charged simply for doing business in a currency other than the US dollar for my American audiences out there. So when traveling here in Malaysia and Singapore, I'm doing purchases in ringgits and now in Singapore dollars. And if I were not using a card that waives those fees, I would have to be paying fees on every single time that I swipe my card, which would get out of hand and cost me quite a lot in the long run. So luckily, I have a card that waives those foreign transaction fees. Again, the Amex Platinum and the Chase Sapphire Reserve both do that. However, I found that I haven't really been able to use this card in all that many places. Even here in Singapore, which is far more developed and has an economy a little bit closer and more akin to what you might find in the United States, Amex is still not widely accepted at a lot of places I've gone to, especially in some of the hawker centers or some of the more local places that I've been. Amex just is not something that they take. But Visa, on the other hand, with the Chase Sapphire Reserve, I get the benefit of waiving those foreign transaction fees, and I'm still able to use the card. And that brings me to something else I really noticed on this trip, simply the ability of the Chase Sapphire Reserve to earn points. Now, again, when looking at the Amex versus the Chase, when you look at the different cards, the Amex Platinum is pretty bad at earning points. It only earns 5x on flights and hotels, and 1x points per dollar spent on everything else, which honestly is pretty low. And if you're trying to earn a bunch of points for a award redemption, the main avenue is booking other flights and hotels. So if you are doing that, great. But if you're actually in the country that you say are traveling to, or even just domestic travel, you're really not going to be earning that many points. As a matter of fact, I often recommend that people who have the Platinum and are looking for their next card get another Amex card, such as the Amex Gold. That way they can actually earn a decent amount of points through dining that can combo well with the Amex Platinum. However, the Chase Sapphire Reserve honestly can stand pretty confidently on its own. It earns 3x on dining, 3x on general travel, which means things like the subway, Uber, here in Malaysia and Singapore, Grab, which is their version of Uber, even buses. And then in Malaysia in particular, they have this one app called Beam, which we were using to ride scooters around the city. I was earning 3x points on all of those purchases while dodging the foreign transaction fee. It earns 3x on dining. Again, here I'm picking up the tab for a lot of my friends because they don't have cards that can waive those transaction fees. So I'm able to help them out by removing that fee for them purchase. And then also I'm earning 3x points on that. On this trip as well, I've earned 10x points on a pre-booked hotel. I booked a hotel for a weekend and I was able to earn 10x points on that. So honestly, I've earned I believe close to 18,000 points on this trip alone, which I've only been here for 2 weeks. That's honestly a really good turnout for the 14 days I've spent here, getting 18,000 points, purely mostly from food and large chunk from that pre-booked hotel. So while I still stand by my statement I made in the previous video about the Amex Platinum purely being a better card in terms of what it gets you, the lounge access, the Centurion Lounge, the gold status at Hilton and Marriott, etc., I will say that if you are traveling outside the United States, at least as far as Asia goes, as far as Canada goes, that's where I've been, Visa on the Chase side, the Chase Sapphire Reserve, might be the better pick. So if you're planning on doing a lot of international travel, definitely consider the Chase Sapphire Reserve. You're going to be getting that $300 travel credit, which is going to come in handy. Say you're booking a flight, a hotel, whatever you might be doing. And then once you get into the country, you're not going to be paying those foreign transaction fees, and you're going to be having a flexible card that can earn decent points. Not the best. Obviously, it's not the best at earning points back on food, but it's going to earn some points back on food, some points back on travel, and some points back on flights and hotels. Honestly, it's a pretty decent card at a lot of things. I don't want to call it the Swiss Army knife, but it really can do pretty much everything that I've asked of it, and it's done it quite well. So if you're thinking about a new card to get, definitely look at the Chase Sapphire Reserve. I'll have my referral links down below if you want to check it out. I would get 10,000 points for that. Unfortunately, they just switched their welcome bonus back down to the lower 60,000 point option. But if you ever see it for 80,000 points, definitely pick it up. I would highly recommend this card for anybody doing international travel. Absolutely awesome card and a ton of value packed into it. Hopefully this video helps you out when it comes to making a decision between Amex and Chase. If you have any questions, please leave them down below in the comments. I'd be happy to answer them, or even make a response video if that's what you desire. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one.